Have you ever felt like there's more than just one single right answer? Well, in math, and definitely in life, there often is. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on inequalities. This is the super powerful tool that helps us make sense of a world full of possibilities, not just single, lonely solutions. All right, let's get right into it.
I mean, really think about that for a second. In school, we're so often trained to find the answer, right? Like x equals 5. But the real world is so much more interesting than that. What if the answer is a whole collection, a whole range of numbers? Well, that's exactly what inequalities are for. They give us the language we need to talk about all of those possibilities at the same time.
And you know what? We use this idea all the time without even thinking about it. Take getting on the honor roll. It's not about having one specific GPA. No, it's a GPA of 3.5 or higher, and you've got to be taking 12 credit hours or more. See, those aren't just rules for a school. Those are real-world inequalities that set the conditions for success.
Okay, so if we're going to deal with all these ranges in math, we need a special kind of shorthand. It's called interval notation, and trust me, it's this incredibly clean, super efficient way to write down a whole bunch of numbers without having to type out a full sentence. Now just look at this slide for a moment. This is what I'm talking about. On the left, you've got this whole clunky sentence, and on the right, just 5 little characters. They mean the exact same thing, but the notation on the right is so much quicker, so much clearer. That right there is the power of this mathematical language. And the code to unlock this language, it's actually super simple. It all boils down to just 2 symbols. Brackets, the square ones, mean the endpoint is included in the group. You can kind of think of them as little arms, hugging that number, pulling it in. Then you have parentheses, the round ones, which mean the endpoint is not included. Oh, and one more thing. Since you can never, ever actually get to infinity, it always gets a parenthesis. That's pretty much it. Okay, let's check out this table and see how it all fits together. Look at that first row with me. All numbers between a and b, but not including them. In interval notation, that's just parentheses on both sides. Easy. Now jump down to the one that says including a and b. And boom, we switch to brackets. Square brackets, square brackets. It's incredible, right? With just those 2 simple rules, you can perfectly describe any continuous range of numbers you can think of. So we've got the language down to write our answers, but how do we actually find those answers in the first place? Well, solving inequalities is a lot like playing a game you already know how to play, except there's one critical new rule, a little twist that changes everything. And here's some fantastic news for you. You already have almost all of the skills you need. Seriously, if you can solve a basic equation, you are 90% of the way there. You can add, you can subtract, multiply, divide, all the standard moves you're used to doing on both sides of an equation still apply here. But here it comes. Here's the twist. There is one specific action, one particular move in this game that has a really unique consequence, and you absolutely positively have to remember it. It is the key to the whole entire thing. This is it. The one, the only, the golden rule of inequalities. Anytime, and I mean anytime, you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, you must flip the direction of the sign. A greater than instantly becomes a less than becomes a greater than. If you forget this one rule, you'll end up with the exact opposite of the right answer every single time. Let's see this big rule in action, step by step. So we start with our problem, we do our normal algebra to get the x terms together, and we land on this. Negative 17x is greater than or equal to negative 17. Now, to get x all by itself, we need to divide by negative 17. And ding, ding, ding! That's the alarm bell right there. Because we are dividing by a negative, we have to take that greater than or equal to sign and physically flip it around to become less than or equal to. And there's our final answer. X is less than or equal to 1. All right, you've totally mastered the fundamentals, so let's level up, shall we? We're going to use these same core rules to tackle some more complex, more interesting types of inequalities that you're for sure going to run into. First on our list is the compound inequality. And I gotta say, I love this one. The absolute easiest way to think about it is as a math sandwich. Your variable part, that 2x plus 2, is the filling. It's literally sandwiched between 2 numbers. It has to be greater than or equal to 3, and at the very same time, it has to be less than 6. You're solving for a value that's trapped in this really specific little zone. Next up, absolute value. Please don't let those 2 vertical bars scare you. They just mean one simple thing. How far away is this number from 0 on the number line?
That's it. So the absolute value of 5 is 5, because it's 5 steps away from 0. And the absolute value of -5 is also 5, because it's also 5 steps away. Distance is always positive, right? So absolute value is always positive. Simple as that.
So what happens when we mix absolute value with inequalities? Well, you get two very different outcomes. Look on the left. If the absolute value is less than some number, you get another one of those sandwich problems. Your answer is a single, neat little interval. But look over to the right. If the absolute value is greater than a number, the solution totally splits apart. It creates two completely separate intervals that go off in opposite directions. So remember, it's either a sandwich or it splits.
And believe me, this is super useful in the real world. Check this out. Someone says an investment return is expected to be within $200 of $600. Well, that's just a fancy way of stating an absolute value inequality. It means the distance between your actual return, X, and 600 has to be less than or equal to 200. And when you solve that, you get the acceptable range of profit, anything from $400 to $800. It's a perfect real-world math sandwich.
So here's the big takeaway from all this. This isn't just some abstract math concept. Speed limits on the highway, your personal budget for the month, the safety ratings on a car, even your phone's battery life. Our entire modern world is built on a foundation of inequalities. Once you know what to look for, you'll start to see them absolutely everywhere. And that leaves me with one final thought for you to ponder. What are the mathematical inequalities that define your world?